Hello and welcome to Labour Lens. I am Sharon Ijason. On this week edition of the program, we'll be discussing about the rise in unemployment in Nigeria. We also have other news stories for you. We will be right back. More than 600 workers of the Intel's multinational company who have been disengaged since the year 2018 are protesting in Lagos, Nigeria to demand that Intel's international company should pay their terminal benefits, which has been due to be paid since 2018.
I'm a worker with Intel's. I work with a contractor working with Intel's since 2005 to 2013 that the contract was terminated. Intel's up till now, we have not heard from Intel's. The reason for the protest is that we are now here, we are crying to the public that the federal government should come to our aid and tell Intel's to pay us our due severance package. And also, federal government also should look into Intel's activities in Nigeria.
Intel's have enslaved our workers for that long years. And this is a matured protest. We don't want to carry laws into our hands. That's why we're taking this process we are doing now, so that government should look into it. It's an embarrassment because even our maritime union wrote a letter to Intel to pay the benefit. They refused.
Until our contract was terminated in 2018. And ever since then, our severance package has yet to be paid to us and other benefits attached to. Up to date, we are calling on the federal government because, as you can see, even the placard I carried, you can see, it's not just a joke. Over 20 of our members have died as a result of this and yet to be paid. And these people are families.
For more than 600 dock workers who have been declared redundant by Intel's International since the year 2018, they expect that the federal government and relevant authorities will do the needful to ensure that they get paid. This is a frequent message an average unsuspecting unemployed youth receives in Nigeria. It is a message indicating invitation for an interview with a supposed CEO for a job placement. Many a times, shortlisted candidates are swindled. Following this trend, Tope Lasisi, who is actively searching for a job, agreed to record our ordeal in the hands of the swindlers.
We are spending this money. Normal, it's the right for us to spend it. But we are spending on irrelevant things that don't give us expected results. Am I communicating? And that's what we are spending. Not just because of 30,000 naira. Everything you are not saying, it looks like a scam. What was we are looking at it like it looks like a scam. But that's our exam mentality, that's our thinking for our policy. But anything that involves money, it looks like a scam. Now, what's required of you? Your bank name, your account number, and your branch. If not, you don't know the branch you operate your account, don't bother. You can leave. Why? Because you only pay all partners through what we call net.
From findings, there are about 100 venues in Lagos where such activities take place. According to a labor force survey by the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS), Nigeria's unemployment rate rose to 33.3% in the 3 months leading December 2020. That was up from 27.1% in the second quarter of 2020. More than half of the labor force in the country are unemployed or underemployed. A third of the 69.7 million strong labor force in Africa's most populous country either does nothing or works for less than 20 hours a week, making that segment unemployed according to the Nigerian definition. Another 15.9 million people worked less than 40 hours a week, making them underemployed. The Deputy President of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, TUC Oyinkonsala Olasonye, speaks about the development.
Nigerians will not come out immediately to complain and will not report, because at times when you report at police station, you will expose yourself the more because they want you to lead them to that same place, and you are not even sure that the information you are giving the security outfit are secured for your own personal protection. So because of this, it has been a bit tough to report to the security outfit, and where you report to them, how to follow up. If in a situation you reported and a security outfit is telling you that they don't have the vehicle or they don't have the network to follow you immediately, until those scammers have the opportunity to escape. So I will appeal that yes, we go ahead reporting to the security outfit, but we should be each other's keeper. There should be more information to fellow Nigerians. And when there are opportunity for anybody that there is a job opportunity, we should seek further clarification. Some people post some things to us and say we had this advertisement going that Bank A, Bank B, or Bank C is trying to employ, and we'll do the investigation and get back to them and tell them yes. You know, in Nigeria, news that is about 3 years old, 2 years old is being recirculated. So when people rely on this thing, it causes more havoc.
Nigeria's jobless rate has more than quadrupled over the last 5 years as the economy went through 2 recessions, casting a shadow over efforts to implement policies to drive growth and create jobs by President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. For Tope Lasisi, who is still actively searching for a job and was almost lured into paying 13,000 naira to secure a license, which might not bring monetary gains, she hopes that there will be industrialization, economic growth, implementation and coordination of national labor policies at national and subnational levels to create more jobs for the citizens. On the Profile interview segment this week, I'll be speaking with the Minister for State for Labor and Employment, Festus Keyamo. He gave us insight on the issues regarding unemployment in Nigeria and Africa, what the federal government is doing to ensure that more jobs are being created, and the challenges that is faced with in the ministry. He also spoke about the agenda of President Muhammadu Buhari in ensuring that casualization and outsourcing of workers in the corporate organization is being eradicated. Take a listen. Thank you for joining me on the program.
Thank you for having me.
A lot has been happening in the world, most especially the issue of unemployment in the country. It seems to be at its very peak at the moment. I must say, as a youth, it's not been easy trying to earn a living, looking at the current situation that we find ourselves in the country. Can you bring us up to speed? What can you tell us has been the position of President Muhammadu Buhari in terms of ensuring that we have more jobs created for Nigerians?
Well, thank you very much. It is true that the situation regarding unemployment is not salutary at all. Before COVID, we had in the region of about 23% of the unemployment rate. And after COVID-19, it's compounded the issues again. And now we are doing something close to about 33% of the unemployment rate. That, by all standards, is not good enough. It is not only Nigeria this has affected, it's a worldwide phenomenon. And many countries are battling with the post-COVID economic situation. Many people have lost their jobs. Many jobs are even cutting down in the sense that many workers across the world were given lower pay. They were offered lower pay, in many situations to even continue with their jobs. The most important thing for us as a country is how we respond to the situation. It's not to continue to bemoan the situation, but how we respond to the situation by either the private sector or mostly people look up to government institutions and agencies to provide employment. And so people always look out for the letter that says, congratulations, you have been employed by so and so organization. You're on probation for 6 months. And after 6 months, you'll be confirmed. However, for us to create jobs and lift people out of poverty, we have to skill up the population.
So
that's the only way to go.
Can you bring us up to speed on how many jobs the federal government has been able to provide in the last couple of years or two?
We are still collating data from different sectors because, you see, that is where that's the point I was even coming to. People are looking out for the statistics in respect of the number of letters of employment that have been given out. No, we are looking at the different multiplier effects that our policies have made, the kind of jobs that have been created in terms of primary, secondary jobs. Like I said just now, I talked about skilling up the population. In the last 5-6 years, we have skilled up so many persons across various sectors of the economy: plumbers, electricians, hairdressers, and all that. You will see many of these line items in many of our budgets in the MDAs, the National Director of Employment, SMEDAN, the Labor Ministry, and on, like that. So we have so many training centers across the country. We have so many line items in the budget that seek to train these individuals and then give them starter packs. That has been the area government has concentrated on. And so we have been doing a lot of skill acquisition training. We have been doing a lot of empowerment in terms of starter packs. Of course, we don't have enough to go around all those we have trained. So because of paucity of funds, we have not, of course, given to all of them, all the individuals we have trained. Most of these policies
now that the government has been able to achieve more jobs in the informal sector rather than the formal sector that is the most populous amongst us. Is that correct?
Exactly. We have created a lot of jobs in the informal sector, and that is why at times I will not speak from the top of my head. We are still collecting data. We have even put, a machinery in place to see that we can collect the data properly and let Nigerians know exactly just how many of these people in the informal sectors have been created. But let me tell you, very clearly that we are still not there at all. We are still far away from our targets. I want to be very clear about this. So I'm not here to just exaggerate and go away. Anybody that graduates from a place in order to go and set up on his own is a graduating institution. So we have so many of these graduating institutions bringing out so many people every day to the job market. It's quite a large number that they're pointing to the job market every year. And the point is that the rate at which we are trying to create jobs, it's not that we're not creating jobs. The rate as we are creating the jobs is not commensurate with the type of population we are bringing out every year from different institutions. And that, I think, is the challenge we have to face, and we are going to get down to brass task.
Very quickly, recently the federal government, by the order of the Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari, His Excellency, made provision for the 774,000 jobs to be created across the local governments across the country. Most recently, it was in the news that 7.3 billion naira was being owed this set of workers. How true is this information?
Well, technically, if you use the word owed, I don't know whether I should buy that word, but the total budget for the stipends was for 6.6 billion naira to be paid to 774,000 Nigerians, 60,000 each. And so if we have paid out of 46.6 billion, we have paid so much, and it's now a balance. We now have a balance of 7.4 billion or thereabouts. That means we have paid close to about 39 billion. We have paid 39 billion out of the amount, and that's quite a lot. So we have done close to 80-something%, getting close to 90% of the payments, and the payments are ongoing. It's not that we are owing them because the money is not available or we are sourcing for the money. No. In fact, when you say, that's why I say I won't take the word owe, because in most cases, most of these accounts have been credited, but they have not been able to access the monies because many of them have their issues with their BVN. Many of them have issues with the spellings of their names, not of the names that they submitted to us, that we submitted to the banks. Most of them do not match. The names they submitted to us and their names in the banks, most of the names do not match. So the names at times will forward to the accountant general to pay because we don't see the money. Just want to let Nigerians know that's a small diversion. We don't see the money at all. The money is in the CBN, in the NDAs, in the account of the National Director of Employment in the CBN. All we did is to generate the data, get sent to the CBN, and the accountant general will order the CBN to pay. So the money, we don't even see the money at all. So what's going on?
Do you think this program is? Because many people actually believe that it's just one of those job schemes to create jobs for the boys.
Well, let me tell you first of all that the program is in the form of a palliative. So principally, it is a program to bring succor to Nigerians in the post-COVID-19 era. I'll give you this example. If you allow me, I'll go for 10 seconds. If you know, in fact, many Nigerians abroad, they were even abusing us at that time that what were we doing to ameliorate the sufferings of people? People in Europe and America, they were taking cash to the doorsteps of citizens. They were taking groceries. Now, we are talking about here in Nigeria, we are giving succor of 60,000. Now, even assuming we are not even are going to concede, but assuming without conceding that they're not even doing as much jobs as people want them to do. This is principally a program to bring succor to Nigerians. So we have seen a situation where 1,000 Nigerians have been receiving 6,000, 60,000, 1,000 Nigerians per local government. That's quite a lot, 1,000 per local government. So people who have been abusing, in fact, I said this on a lighter note on another occasion. I said people have been abusing government, abusing big men since 1960. That's only big men that are eating government money. So I now joked with somebody. I said, let the poor man eat government money small now. How about? Let these poor people eat the money small. So, but that's on a lighter note. But so 60,000 naira to ordinary Nigerians, poor Nigerians, I don't think it's too much. And the jobs they are doing is not a regular job of 8 to 4. So you don't have to see them everywhere sweating and going to work in the morning and coming in the evening. We made sure they did light work. We have a catalog of all the jobs they did, local government by local government.
You know, Nigerians actually believe that these workers are actually ghost workers because they've not actually seen them or meet with them personally. I know that there was a time that I went through to the local government to actually do my own due diligence. Though I couldn't find any, but I learned that probably they went out on an environmental duty and all. But can you tell us for a fact, with your records and with your own experience, are these workers, do they truly exist and they're not ghost workers? Because some people actually believe that they are ghost workers.
I'm sure you know my background. Coming into government as a minister, I know where I'm coming from and the kind of transparency you expect from me as an individual. As I speak with you, we have with us the complete names of everybody paid and their BVN. Let me even show Nigerians, they are here. Complete names of everybody paid across the country, name by name, BVN by BVN. So there's no ghosts. And anybody that cares, this is something I'm submitting to everybody within government to know. This flash here you see contains the flash. This flash you see contains the name of every single person that has been paid, their names, their account numbers, and the BVN and the banks involved. That is what you are seeing on my table here. So don't even go there. I'm not even a careless person at all. This is the hard copy of only 3 states. So you can imagine if we print all the 36 states. These only 3 states and see how bulky it is. Look at it. Federal government, National Director of Employment, comprehensive reports on the extended special public works, comprehensive reports. All the names are here of everybody that has been paid. You can see that this is only Gombe states. I'll just give you, look at Gombe. Look at Gombe. Look at, you see? Look at names. Account number.
You can see that you have detailed information, but obviously.
But you find trouble now. Now you find trouble. Hold on. Now you find trouble.
This information.
As you find trouble now, so tell you, I'm armed and ready. I am armed and ready for any Nigerian.
But very quickly, there are also observations by some stakeholders, whereby they presume that perhaps this money that was invested in people through the 774,000 jobs that was being created in a period of time, people believe that maybe this money should have been directed to the NPE, that perhaps maybe this youth will have been able to pick 1 or 2 skills and be able to create wealth.
There are people who invest in businesses. You mean people don't need cash to invest in their small businesses? 60,000 is a lot for rural people to invest and boost their businesses. The money did not fly to America. We didn't pay dollars, we paid naira. That money is circulating. The 46.6 billion is now circulating in the grassroots. That money did not fly away. So whether you like it or not, in the last few weeks or months, 46.6 billion have been pumped into the grass, not the top echelon, not the middle class, to the grassroots. People can now buy a new Okada, repair their old Okada. They can buy grinding machines. They can boost their hairdressing business. They can buy more tomatoes. They can open, buy more goods in their shop in the markets. So many of these things are going on now. It doesn't mean that there are other programs, we have abandoned other programs. There are other programs of empowerment going on in terms of skill acquisition. Those things are going on. But as a government, you cannot be one, you cannot have a one-track mind. The same people that are saying that if you carry this money and put in some kind of program or some kind of training program where they will not realize the money immediately, they have to wait for 2 years before the money comes, or 3 years. The same people will start shouting, you want to kill Nigerians before they see money to eat? Do you want to kill them first? So you cannot undermine the importance of getting monies to the hands of people immediately, people who are hungry and angry. You don't know the kind of social revolution that this thing has quelled across the country. How about when we poor man eat something now from government, let them eat this one. Let them eat this one. Leave poor man alone.
Human wants are actually very insatiable. Of course, you would agree, but of course, it's not been yes. I know it's not really been easy with the unemployment situation. We actually have a lot of employers that are actually taking advantage of this situation, prioritizing profit over people. There's this increase in casualization and outsourcing of workers year and year.
Hold your thoughts there. I'm the chairman of that committee on casualization. I'm the chairman, and we want to amend the laws now. We want to address the banking industry, the oil industry, and some other industries that are used to this casualization of workers. This contract staff all over the place. In fact, we started the conference in Lagos last year with all stakeholders, the NLC, TUC, and some other stakeholders, the oil industry, banking sector. They sent representatives. It was the COVID that stopped it, and we're about to resume now. I just spoke with my director of labor of trade union services an hour before this interview, and we are meeting in Lagos in the next few weeks with all stakeholders, and I'm the chairman of that subcommittee to address it. So I'm happy you're talking about that. I want to let you know that we are addressing it. I will not live here as an activist who came into government as a senior advocate of Nigeria without addressing that issue. I will not. I want to address it before I leave government.
I don't know if you'd like to give us a timeline of how soon Nigerian workers should expect these issues to be addressed in terms of law.
Once we do our bits, then we move it over to the National Assembly. I speak with you, the National Assembly, commendably, we have to commend them. They are reviewing all labor laws. We too, on our part, we are making our own review of all the labor laws. And when we are reviewing labor laws, casualization will come to the front burner. So the National Assembly is actually doing a good job on it now. And so they will soon invite everybody for public hearing. At that point, we will now say, well, it is at the doorsteps of the National Assembly.
Different unions have come up with some strike action at one point or the other. And there are some more unions that are bracing up for more strikes. What is the government trying to do to ensure that we have industrial harmony in the sector?
Well, as conciliators, the Ministry of Labor, we are basically conciliators. We are not the principals involved in any of these industrial actions. So when people at times, they see everybody going on strike, they will be shouting, Labor Ministry, what are you doing? Labor Ministry, no, let me educate Nigerians. We are not the ones involved though in all these strikes. We are not the one. We are the ones that are coming in to reconcile as conciliators. So when you hear doctors are going on strike, people say, what is Keyamo they are doing? No, it is the Minister of Health that is having problem with doctors. We are now bringing the two of them to conciliate. When you hear that teachers are going on strike, ASU is the Minister of Education and lecturers that are having problem. Ministry of Labor have no problem with anybody. We will be the ones to call the two of them to reconcile, and so on and so forth. So within the limits of resources, we have been trying to make our negotiations as realistic as possible, as honest as possible. We are not part of previous governments who will just sign any kind of agreement. for people to go back to work, only for them to find it difficult to fulfill those agreements. Most of these agreements we inherited were from past governments who made bogus promises just to pepper over the issues, and then the issues were inherited by us. I know government's a continuum, but most of these agreements signed were unrealistic, and they were signed at times where the country was very buoyant, when oil prices were up, and the government then could not pay.
So is it true that Nigeria is broke? Because for every time any of these unions come out, the issue is always money, 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 money. And they always complain that government is not living up to its own side of the bargain. So is it that the country is broke?
To answer yes or no, particularly, so I don't use it as headline, go and ask Minister of Finance whether we are broke or not. I said paucity of funds. The demands are many, the purse is few. The demands are many. That's what I would prefer to say. But to use that magic word broke, you will call Zainab Ahmed when I leave this interview and ask her to tell you that.
Thank you very much for your time. And that's all we can take on today's edition of the program. Join us next week for a fresh edition of the show. I am Sharon Ijason. Thanks for watching, and remember that labor creates wealth.